I will be teaching you how to create your E-FLIER for Instagram posts using Corel Draw 17. But if this is your first time of watching our video or visiting our channel, I want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel. Don't also forget to click on the notification button. It doesn't bite, so that we'll be getting instant notification as we upload more tutorials.
To start with now, like with what I'm having on the screen, the first thing you need to observe is the dimension of your design. And if you look at your Instagram, one thing I want you to observe there is the shape of your picture that you are uploading. It is always in the ratio 1:1, meaning the aspect ratio looking at the vertical stroke horizontal axis. The dimension is always equal, like a square shape, and the standard measurement in most cases is 320 by 320 pixels. Now to start with, let us create a new document. To create a new document, you can come to File and click on New to create a new document. If you don't want to do that, you can click on this button on your standard bar to create your new document. As well, you can use this plus to create a new document. As well, using the shortcut Ctrl N to create a new document. So if you want to create a new document, you can use any of these 4 methods that I've listed above in creating your new document. So I'm using this. Over here I'm setting my size. I'm measuring on pixels. What's the dimension? 320 by 320 pixel. Then I'm leaving my primary color mode on CMYK, and for my resolution I'm using 300, which is the highest. Over here, click on OK. So over here now my canvas is set, my page is set. I can start creating my new design. But at this point, let me firstly introduce the texts. So we have our write-ups on the screen now. The next thing we do now is to now arrange it the way it will be much more attractive by the time you are through with your design. What I want to do now is to break these texts so that I can easily work on them independently. And to break your text, you can go to Object, you click on Break Artistic Text, or you apply the shortcut Ctrl key. When you press Ctrl key, you can see that it has broken the text, it has separated it line by line. If you want to break it further, you can still press Ctrl key. It has separated it words by words, Ctrl key, letter by letter, and so on, like that. Alright, so like what I'm having here now, Said design like a pro. So the pro means professional. Let's see how to sort the write-ups out. For my side now, let me reduce the font. Let's me I'm using this font size, then the font type. Let me use this for now. Design like a. Let me still break this further. If I Control K, so I have my design. Move this one down a little. I have my design. Then change the font. This is the font I used for my previous design. So I have the Pro, the same font size. Select this also and position them design like A. Now this is on capital letter. Just to, for the sake of creativity, let me change this one to sentence case, meaning only the first letter, even not to lowercase. Just activate the text, then you highlight your text, shift F3, let's use lowercase. Alright, then you change your font also. What I'm trying to do here is to be sure that I'm not using too much type of fonts on my design. I'm trying to limit the number of fonts I introduce. Then reposition this, then for my fonts, I think I have this on red color, I have this on green. Looking at the green, if it is not sharp enough, you can double click on this point to adjust your coloring. So let me just add black. You can see the cyan, magenta, yellow, black. This is the green we have before. This is what I'm having now. So let's say I'm having this on the screen. I select a rectangle just to create a line here. Give it also green color. Then right click on this point to remove the outline. So like what I'm having on my screen now. Okay, so I'm through with that point. The next thing now, arranging the next text. So to arrange this, I will introduce some shapes into the design. So go to under your polygon tool, you see your basic shapes. Right click on this point, pick the shape like what I'm having here. Using my shape tool, I will stretch the shape out at this point. Then mirror it. I give this one red color. Right click to remove the outline. So let's say this is what I'm having here. Duplicate this by I move with my left button on the mouse and I drop it to the right click to duplicate it, give it a color as well, then shift this one down to an extent. Back to my basic shape under the polygon tool, back to my basic shapes, coming over here, I select another shape, pick two, I still give it the same red color, remove the outline. Using my shape tool, I stretch out this point, stretch it down. Okay, if this appears to be too big, let me reduce this a little so that there will be a little space in between. Okay, now I have the shape. Let me fix the text on it. Remember to break your object. I used the shortcut earlier, Ctrl K, then my join. Double click on this and select all. I change the font now, then maybe to sentence case, join. Let me reduce the font also to 4 points, shift page up to bring it forward and give it white color like what I'm having here now, join join what? You will get to know it as we proceed. Now you have graphics design. I change the font again to the bump sound, the font type I used before. If you don't have this font on your system, you can download it online. Looking at this, you can see that the text is hiding behind the image. To bring it forward, you just press shift and page up, it will come forward. If you want to send it back, you press shift and page down, it moves back. So let me bring it forward using shift and page up. Give it yellow color, graphics. Bring this one also down, shift page up to bring it forward. I want to apply the same font size, the same font type, and the same color. Now to achieve this easily, let me show you one simple trick. Come into your toolbox, look at this point, you have the color eyedropper. Click on the arrow under it, you see the attribute eyedropper. Select the attribute eyedropper. Now what does this do? The attribute eyedropper enables you to transfer the attributes of one object to another. So after selecting the attribute eyedropper, now I click on this graphics. You see that it changes to something like a paint bucket. Drop it on this design. So with that, I've been able to pick the attributes of the text and transferring them one to another. So let me just stretch this out a little. We bring it down also. Double click on it, select all. I use Ctrl A, Shift F3 for the master class. Let's use title case for this. Then the font also, I change the font. Let me reduce this to 6 points. Let me see if this can enter. Or I use 5 points. Giving it a white color. So this is what I'm having on the screen. The next thing I need to do now, let's quickly apply background on our design. You can go online to download different backgrounds, and some people like using solid color as well for their design, but there's nothing wrong, absolutely wrong with this. But for the sake of beauty, I always advise my students to look for fine backgrounds so that they have some very wonderful effects at the background of their design. So what I do now, I press Ctrl I to go and import from the folder that I have here. I think something like this is fine. How do we go about this? The first thing I do is to power clip this image into my background rectangle. So I right click on it, I click on power clip inside and click on this. So the background moves in. When you power clip an object, it means you move it into another object. You select the object, right click on it, and you click on edit power clip. So it opens the object up. So from here you can start resizing it. Now what did I do? I want to show you the effect of transparency on your objects, like what I used on this. If you check it very well, you can be seeing the lines, but it is still showing the color. I want to maintain the original color of my canvas, but it will still have the background effect. Now what do you do to achieve this? You make your object transparent. When an object is transparent, it means it will permit the passage of light and vision, meaning you can see through it. But as it is now, you can't see through it. You are only seeing the building, the skyscrapers, because it is not transparent, meaning it is opaque. So editing the power clip, I select my transparency tool. Right here on your property bar, you will see where they put uniform transparency. Click on it. You can see that it becomes transparent. See the percentage. This is 50% transparent. You can still increase it. This is 81. Now let us finish editing. Right click on this, finish editing this level, and see what we have there. So you can see the skyscraper and the color effect. The color was able to show because the background was transparent. Then you can now adjust this to your likeness. So let's just leave it this way for now. If the green is maybe too dark, I want to lighten it up, you can tone it by adding white. How do you add white? You hold Ctrl key on your keyboard and you click on white, so it adds white to your color. It tones it up, it lightens it up. Now let's look for the image to put on it. Design like a pro. I press Ctrl I, that is import, to go and import images from my download folder. So this is my picture. I bring in the picture now. So I have my picture on the screen. I can decide to mirror it if I want. Then what I do with the picture, power clip inside. So the picture has been power clipped. You now arrange it until it fits into what you want to achieve. So I have my picture here saying design like a pro. Selecting my rectangle tool, you draw your rectangle. Using shape tool, zoom in. You can now adjust the edge of this rectangle. I still give it the same green color. Remove the outline. You can see that it is covering the text. Select the text, bring up the text using shift page up. Then let me look for the NYSC logo at the side of this side. I press Ctrl I to look for the NYSC logo. I have the logo downloaded already on my laptop, but in case you don't have, you can just go online and look for your logo. So the logo have been imported, so I'm having this here as my side. Giving this one a yellow color as well. To finish it up, let me just create another shape at this lower part. White color, right click on this point to remove the outline. Power clip it inside so it goes in. Now I want to put in the facilitators information, then the duration of the training, 3 months. Selecting my rectangle tool, I draw a rectangle. or hold Ctrl to make it a square. Give this one red color. Remove the outline. Using my shape tool, I shape in the edges as well. Then duplicate this by moving with your left click, drop it with your right button on the mouse, give it the green color. Now to make this look much more beautiful, select this rectangle, click on it again. Look at this point, turn it a little, that is, rotate it. So it has been rotated. Select the first one, hold shift, select the second rectangle, press C, it moves to the center. So you have centralized the two rectangles. So at this point now, you can now introduce your text talking about the duration of the training, which is just a space of 3 months. So bring up the text now, Ctrl K to break the text, double click on it, highlight, Shift F3, I'm using sentence case, the duration, give it white color, Shift page up to move it up, so I have this already in my canvas. Now the 3, change the font, double click on this also, Ctrl A, Shift F3, I'm using sentence key. For the months, change the font as well, bring it up, white color. So we have this right here, it can come down a little, then for the facilitator, the information of the facilitator, I want to create another shape here so that this place will not look too plain. Going back to my basic shape tool, I pick this same shape, you draw out your shape. Using the shape tool, I stretch it out at this point, give it red color, remove the outline, duplicate, give this one green color and mirror. Select the two together by selecting the first one, hold shift, select the second one, press E and C to centralize the two. So over here I've created something. I can now input my text. Shift page up, white color, double click. I think this is okay. Stretch it out. So I have my facilitator over here now. Let me impute the facilitator information. So what I did here is to import my logo, import the WhatsApp icon, then impute my text. So at this point I can say I've easily created an E-FLIER that I can use for my Instagram adverts. Looking at the shape, it is a square shape. It fits in for either my WhatsApp DP, Facebook DP, or Instagram post. Now there is one thing I want you to know at this point. When you have this type of design to be created, the tutorial have only guided you on how to use the tools. For example, looking at the tutorials, looking at the design you are seeing on the screen. Number one, the logo was imported. Number two, my image was imported. Number three, you can see the shapes that I introduced using the basic shape tool. Then over here, rectangle was manipulated. Over here, they are just shapes as well. This is a rectangle. The background, I use the transparency tool. When you are through, you want to upload your design. What do? You export your design. To export means you want to convert it to picture format or any other format. You can come to your file and click on export. If you don't want to do that, look at your property bar. You can see the icon here. That is export icon as well. Meaning you want to save it as a duplicate format so that you can use it in some other ways. If you don't want to do that, you can also press Ctrl E. Ctrl E. It's still the same thing like when you want to export. So either file menu, export. So let's use this. Which format are you exporting your work on? Let's export it on JPEG format. That's normal bitmaps. So I've selected JPEG, exporting it to my desktop. The name, let's just say sample flyer. Sample flyer. Then you click on export. Now, before you finish exporting your work, you need to do some setting. Number one, look at your color mode. On CMYK, the size of your design is 766 kilobytes. You can decide to export it on RGB. See the file size, 92.4 kilobytes. Then the quality, let's use the highest. The quality also affects the file size. See, but since you are on 100%, the file size, let's drop the quality. Let's say we are using high. This 80%, you can see 29.1. But since on the highest as well, it is not too big, let's use the highest quality. Then you can see the transformation. You can still adjust your resolution here as well. The resolution influences the brightness and the sharpness of your design. So let's click on OK.